Rick, why don't we start with a bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, Sarah, I'm skill-wise, I'm an electronics engineer. I've been working for 40 years, and my business started as a consultancy. So we over all these years we've designed other people's products, but over the last 19 years we've been involved largely in the environmental and farm sector. So we designed a lot of products for other people, but we have our own farm automation technology and monitoring technology, which we market through EnviroNode.
Yeah, cool. And what do you see as being like the main problem that you guys are solving?
Well, look, yesterday, Sarah, I turned 63, and
happy birthday.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much. Yep, thank you. And look, as it turns out, I'm actually the average age of a farmer in Australia, and I can tell you, when you reflect on yourself at the age of 63, and you think, well, I've got a lot of skills, a lot of experience, and how can I best use that? How can I multiply myself? I certainly don't have the energy necessarily that I had at 20 or 25. I still do a lot, and I'm still in pretty good shape. But do I actually want to be doing what I did when I was 20 or 25? And the answer is probably no. So the thing is, how can you use that? And the point is, if you can put your knowledge and your skills into technology and get technology to do things for you based on your skills and experience, then that's achieving bang for buck really out of and particularly in this area. Like I have a customer up in Gympie in Queensland. He's same age as me, and his problem, and I've chatted to him all the time. He says, well, he wants to retire. He has retired, and he's sort of sold off his bit of the farm. But he says, well, I just don't know how to replace myself, and his farm's done really well. Like we've automated his farm, but but all of the data that we've collected, we can now use that data to set up scheduling and management of the irrigation of his farm. So potentially somebody with less skills and less ability, but with the energy, could actually do what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. So what are some of the main reasons that you might see somebody move to automation?
I'm losing my notes here. Well, look, I suppose if you look at the factors that are influencing automation, apart from what else could I be doing with my time? Essentially, if you look at the cost of water, cost of fuel, fertilizer, they're all resources that are becoming more costly and more scarce. And at the same time, we're battling with climate change, and a moment ago I was just talking to Sarah's mum here about, their property. They've got dry land property, and do they see the effects of climate change? Well, she's not sure. But one thing's for sure is if you are collecting data and looking at things from year to year, you'd actually perhaps start to see the effects of climate change, but maybe you'd also be better prepared to know how to deal with it when you get sort of long dry periods or particularly heavy wet periods and things like that. So,
what is things like the increasing economies of scale? So farm sizes are increasing. We all know that we've got less people in rural areas than what we had before. What is that meaning for the problems that you guys might be solving on the ground?
Yeah, well, look, actually, through the Farms of the Future program, we got 2 projects through that. One for a farmer over near Griffith, and he's acquired a large area of land there that he basically wanted to farm, but can't double his labour force. So we essentially automated the irrigation of his properties, growing cotton there. We've got another one up at near Lismore, and old guy there who's been farming for many years, but he's physically he's not in great shape now, and his son works for a sells mining equipment up in Brisbane. His daughter's works in childcare. But they want to start growing grapes there. I mean, it's not necessarily the area that I'd grow grapes, but that's what they want to do. So they've, essentially they're automating, basically monitoring soil moisture, weather conditions, and automating the drip irrigation of the grapes.
Yeah. And while we're on soil moisture monitoring and weather condition monitoring, you did touch a little bit on climate change before. Yeah. What do you think that's meant for what farmers are looking for when they're turning to AgTech? That changing of climate, I mean, even if it happens all the time and it's a constant that we deal with, it is always constantly changing. What do you think that's meant for the solutions that they're looking for?
Well, look, we've become, in the last 3 years, one of Sydney University's main suppliers of soil moisture monitoring equipment, and what they're using it for is for research into natural sequence farming to look at making farms more drought resilient. So they're looking at the soil moisture profile and ways of managing the land to retain moisture in the ground. So I also chatted to a guy here earlier who's looking at retaining carbon in the soil and the way that helps to maintain soil moisture as well. So I think if you're gathering that information on your property, I mean it helps you for one make decisions about whether you should plant a crop or not plant a crop, or particularly if you're dryland farming. Unless you have that underlying soil moisture at the beginning of the season, maybe it's better that you don't plant anything and just wait, for the season after or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. No, there's a lot of decision improvement that happens when we get tech and we get some data to back us up. It helps us sleep at night, definitely with those decisions. But while we're on that, let's dig a lot into what we're here to talk about, I guess, which is that bang for buck from AgTech. What has been some of the returns on investment that you've seen farmers really searching for? It might not be that traditional financial figure, right?
Well, look, if I look at, say, farm we did up at Gympie, the macadamia farm there, actually, in that case, the farmer's gone from 3.4 tonnes of nuts per hectare to 7.2. So actually, in his first season, he paid for his system many times over. So there's a very clear a bang for buck there. But look, what I think is same for me in running my business as it is for a farmer farming. If you're looking at the value of your time, how do you spend your day and what else could you be doing? I mean, are you missing out on time with your family? Is there some other task you could be doing that's actually more valuable than running around seeing whether water's reached the end of a furrow or whether your head ditch is full or your gates have opened or closed, or I mean, and for a lot of these farms they're pretty big, so you can spend all day driving around and all night, and I mean during irrigation season I've seen irrigators out 48 hours without sleep, and it's not good for your health. It's not good for your relationship with your family, and I've seen lots of relationship breakups and things like that. So it's you've got to think how are you spending your time, and if you really look at it, I think the return on investment it's not just simply financial, it's lifestyle as well, and can you get away from the farm, like if you wanted to go away for a weekend or a little holiday or whatever, do you have that confidence to know that everything's running okay?
Yeah, definitely. That peace of mind is a huge one that we've heard about in the Farms of the Future program as well. I want to have a good night's sleep. I don't want to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and turn off the pump.
Yeah.
I do want to have peace of mind when I'm off farm and on holidays. I can see everything's working on my phone. I guess that on that, what value do you think that farmers are currently putting on their time, and is there any change that you would like to see there?
Well, that's an interesting one. I mean, I only know the farmers that I talk to, really, and look, there's a big difference. The ones that'll come and find us, they already know why they want to automate, and they know what their time is worth, and they could think of better things they want to do. And then you'll talk to others, and they go, "Oh no, we're just going to keep doing the same thing we always did," and you think, well, look, you just don't get it yet.
What's an easy win? So let's say that somebody's a farmer and they're looking to adopt some technology and they're wanting that return on investment time-wise or other. What's a nice, easy solution that might help a irrigation farmer out to adopt first, to go on that journey to learn to trust the technology and find that return on investment?
Well, look, everything that we do, right, is scalable. So, you can start with something very simple and small, and then build on it. And I mean, we're also like one of the most valuable things, I think, is the time we spend going out and talking to farmers directly. So if we've got a farmer that is interested in implementing technology in their farm, it's a bit of a scary thing. They don't really know what they need to do or how to implement it. We are more than happy to go out and have a chat and find out what the problem is, and we're not looking to sell them the universe straight up, but if we can solve a problem together and maybe even just do something simple or trial something where, like we've got a guy down in Victoria who's a corn farmer, and they want to put quite a lot of automation on irrigation stops. But I mean, we're quite open with them. We're developing new technology, and we've been sort of almost doing that in partnership with them. We'll say, look, once we've got a prototype, we'll bring it down, test it out. You can see what the bugs are, tell us what you think, and we'll optimise it and customise it to suit what you want to do. And that's sort of a win-win. They're getting something they need, and we're learning, what they potentially, can use. What our customer base actually can make use of.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a really cool lesson in there too about scalability. Whoever you're looking to for an AgTech supplier, you do want to see that piece of scalability in there, absolutely. I'm going to ask you a question I warned you about now. What is an unexpected learning or an unexpected return on investment that you've seen from a farmer that you've worked with? Something that you just bit left field?
Bit left field.
I mean, I had one once where somebody got some tank monitors and they said that we just love it when it rains. We just stay in bed and watch all our water tanks fill up and it's the best. So we weren't expecting that.
Something that we didn't expect. Look, I'll tell you one thing. Actually, it's not to do with farm automation, but to do with monitoring, right? Back in 2014, the University of New England developed a smart farm there because it was the first place that got the NBN, right? And we implemented a telemetry network across the farm using 2.4 gigahertz radios that we developed. And what we noticed, because we were monitoring everything, we were monitoring signal levels and power and battery power and temperatures and all sorts of stuff, in that system. And what we noticed, because we're measuring signal strength, was that there were seasonal changes in radio signal strength across the farm, right? And what we realised, and we're working with Professor Dave Lamb from University of New England, And what we realised was that those changes in signal strength were related to environmental moisture levels. So he actually had a PhD student there who then used our telemetry equipment, and they were beaming signals through trees there. And this PhD student there did her PhD on looking at measuring moisture levels in trees using radio signal strength.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And I guess what do you think, is there going to be any unexpected, like what would you predict would be a return on investment in future that we might not be hearing about today, or maybe starting to hear about someone wanting?
Look, I think the next thing that's coming seriously in this area is artificial intelligence, right? I mean, we are gathering lots of data as we automate farms, and all of that automation is being set up by people. They're scheduling and we're collecting all of the data, the results of that irrigation, and seeing the crop yields and things like that. I mean, all of that information can then be turned into algorithms that do that automatically. So for sure, I think that's what's coming next. And
yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, was what does the future irrigation farm look like? Like somebody driving around, and you've got all this AI technology. What else, I guess, do you see?
Yeah, I think it'll be a bit like the military now. It's all people in air traffic control rooms looking at TV screens and
a fleet of spray rigs that drive themselves.
Yeah, well, but even monitoring. Like I have one of my engineers. Her job when she comes in first thing in the morning is she goes through every customer site and just has a look for anomalies to see whether any equipment is not doing what it should, or battery levels low or something like that, so that we kind of get onto customers before they even realise they've got a problem. Because if you're irrigating actively, if you have a piece of equipment that's not working, it's a big problem. But I can see all of that becoming much more automated, and
Yeah, definitely. Though jobs like that error search, and that person can then be, their time can be utilised in another area of the business, which is something we've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
I might throw out to the audience now. Does anybody have any questions?
One thing about AI, what's the biggest thing straight away that we're going to notice with AI, do you think? Like the biggest change in agriculture?
Well, look, as I said, if you look at the things that are quite feasible to automate, that don't really need somebody to oversee them. If you can really well monitor something and you can control it reliably, then if you look at the fact that, say, you've got an experienced irrigator or somebody like that setting up irrigation schedules, if they don't need to do that, then they can go and do something else, go and do another field. Like I know a property up near Moree where they've actually got managing all of that, and then they've bought land up in northern Queensland, which they're now growing as well. The same farming team run both properties, so the farm owner flies them up to North Queensland to do that. Now, if they could automatically look after the one here or the one up there, then you can double the use of your workforce.
So the farms are going to be bigger still?
Well, that's happening, isn't it? I mean, like the farm, like if the age of farmers is increasing, I mean, everybody kind of wants an easy life, and kids don't want to do what their parents did, and I can understand that. It's hot, it's difficult, it's risky, it's bad for your family, it's everything, Yeah.
Any other questions? I asked too many good ones.
I don't know.
All right, well, we might finish it there. Unless there's something else you want to add that we haven't covered, Rick, or...
Look, I think that's it. And if you come and see us round on the other side of the back of the AgTech tent there, we've got our some of our equipment set up. Little demonstration of a winch we've recently developed for automatic winch for controlling irrigation gates. And
It's very cool. I took a video of it and put it on socials the other day. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for coming into the AgTech Talk Hub, and everybody for listening.
Okay, thank you very much.